We finally got the ending of it, the official creation of Mordor with the volcano
Yeah,
eruption.
yeah, that was pretty good. Well, it, we actually had hints of it when they were looking at map, especially when the Queen Regent was looking at the map.
Hmm.
If you're into Tolkien, you'd see like the mount, like the lines where the mountain peaks are. That's actually more where Mordor
Right.
is. So there were hints, and it's really cool that we see it. And now the tunnels make sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And which I thought was wild. One, even coming into this, like the ending, because I feel like the ending is what sets up everything else to make it make sense. I mean, I guess that's literally what its purpose is. But like, one thing that really annoyed me is like, yo, you guys have this thing wrapped up, and nobody took a chance to look at it. Nobody took time to look to see if it's the hilt of the sword.
Yeah. It just felt too easy. Like the show, like with the first victory, I'm
Yeah.
thinking, this that was too easy. They're probably being flanked, and yes, they were being flanked.
But
Uh,
here's the other thing, though. They were being flanked, but for the considering that these are all people that were their own people, like they advanced stuff. Like remember, they were holding on to the barricade thing to break through the door. Like if you are you're open, you know this is a trick. Like at least like we've seen this trick played in other movies, like in Joker, not in Joker, in Batman Begins or Batman Dark Knight, but like you see the it's your friend being tied up as a person that looks like your enemy. At least
yeah,
they were gagged and tied up and had no mobility and simply were just there as decoys in movement. In this one, people actually moved stuff. So it's like I didn't see enough
well,
uh,
no,
bait
like
output.
it
Uruks.
was. Yeah, remember what the orc said? They had to pay the price to get into the army.
Yeah.
So they weren't slaves. They wanted to kill their own, so
No.
they can be part of like that army.
Damn
That's
it.
how
Yeah.
twisted. That's how
True.
twisted Adar was, and it's interesting because if you recognize him, he's like Benjen Stark from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. 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 No. And yeah. No. No. True story. True story. Except for he's not going to be riding up alive for some reason at the end to tell you about facing the White Walkers and then do nothing. But
Yeah,
yeah, this one, I'm glad that they finally did a lot more action in this one. I think it helped. I think again, there's been this steady buildup, and I'm a little concerned because there's only well, we're on episode 5, 6. Like there's only I think 9 or 10 episodes of this show, 8 to 10 episodes, somewhere around there.
yeah. So around that,
So they have to kind of speed this up because one, they have to justify the cost of doing this again for another season, and two, um, you know, the whole what do you call it? Ending on a note to make it push the story along. Though it was dope to see the army come in. It was again reminiscent
yeah.
of Gandalf
Rohan.
and exactly. Exactly.
Well,
Which is what I thought they were. I was like, is the Rohans are they the same as the Numenorian? The Numen?
no. Well, they're all like Gondor and like Rohan are like I think descendants of Numenorians as like
Okay.
both. Like if you notice, like some of the Numenorian cavalry had those like spiky helms with the tassels,
Yeah, which is
which
what
is
made me remind of them initially.
and then you have like the Numenorian captains with wings,
Right.
which is reminiscent of the Gondor people from like the army of Gondor
Yeah,
were there.
right.
So yeah, even the scale mail,
That
like
was another part that made it stand out. Where I was like, "Yo, this was them. Are they related in some way?" And
I
it would make sense because if Numenor ends up being destroyed, essentially, or abandoned at least, and they would have to all be on Middle Earth and having somehow stayed.
yeah.
The new,
I Halbrand is like one of one of the ancestors of Rohan. Like
gotcha.
if you remember the names of people from Rohan, you get Halbrand, Halder.
Yeah,
They're all similar names, and then you have the reason why Gondor kings had like the stewards had different names because they're not really descendant from Numenorians
yeah,
like Boromir. Uh, Unlike Isildur and uh, his dad. So yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. But what would your overall thoughts from the culmination of what was built up in episode 5 to what we received for episode 6?
I mean, finally, we get to see evil, like
Yeah,
real evil. Like, um, it's interesting though that Adar claims to be like a rebel or captain.
right.
Like I wonder how true it is. Like he
Did
wanted,
he was the one who actually killed Sauron? Is that actually true?
yeah. Which I don't buy, but because like we see in Lord of the Rings that orcs were made in breeding pits.
Yeah,
If I remember correctly, they're bastardizations of elves. They're
right.
corrupted elves. That's why they're like that. I What I'm wondering is it really true that he killed Sauron because the Uruk-hai that's with him are really his children, like descended from like from him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting.
I'm interested to see where they end up going with that and taking it up. But yeah, I'm glad that they're finally getting to the point. It's just been a lot of build.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe!
Die or die.